to call upon our panelists to come forward. So I'll give you an opportunity to maybe introduce yourself, tell us what you are doing. I'll want to ask Mr. Josue Mugisho, what are some of the barriers that prevent women and particularly the youth from participating in the renewable energy transition work?
Thank you very much for having me here. My name is Mugisho Mugaruka Josue. I'm a project engineer with Aptech Africa. So just something about Aptech Africa is an EPC, engineering and construction company. We are headquartered here in Uganda, but we are having office in many countries here in Africa. And our headquarters is in Uganda, but we are registered in DRC. We have office in Central Africa Republic. We are in South Sudan. We are in Guinea, and also we are in Sierra Leone. So I'm happy to be here, and probably I go straight to answer the question about the limit, during our executions, projects of grids, more specifically, what was the limit, for women and youth in involving in this energy transit journey. And from our experience, one of the challenge, it was, I can list the awareness and outreach, many youth, they are not really informed about the opportunities that are in the renewable energy sectors, and also the opportunity of grants and looking for finance. And probably I'll try to split the question into phase. Probably a youth who is more into entrepreneurship, and the other one who's looking for employment. So in entrepreneurship, getting finance, it's always been one of the key challenge, to start probably a business in the same energy field. And when I talk about the lack of information, when you talk to many of the youth, you told them about existing grant opportunities. I was talking to somebody about probably the deep price and how East African community people, many of them, they have been getting there. It can be one of the problem. The problem also is there is a social and culture problem related to youth to access the energy transit journey. And some people would be like, they are still young, they don't have experience. And people will be like, those are the work that women can do and probably men can do, but women cannot do. And also one of the point we have seen is the skill gap, between probably youth and women when they are trying probably to enter in engineering or probably a energy company. One was also the problem was like the limit, especially for people trying now to enter to employment. There is a limit, on energy, on opportunities, opportunities for graduated, fresh graduated students. And that one we are trying to work on it as Aptech, give opportunity to just graduated students to enter and get employed with a company. They can be trained, and later on even have the opportunity also to implement projects. So from my experience, those are few limits that are those are few challenges that are limiting, young and women to access into the energy transit. Thank you.
So I'll go straight away to Ms. Mercy Kitomari, working in the Tanzanian space and being a liaison between your organization and the Tanzanian government. What are some of the policies that you see that when harmonized will lead to improved opportunities for women and the youth to participate within the renewable energy space? And maybe you can speak specifically to the sector that you work in and what you promote.
Thank you very much. So as briefly mentioned, my name's Mercy Nenela Kitomari. I am Government Relations and Policy at TRI, TRI. TRI, we deal with electric three-wheelers. Electric three-wheelers are the main, in general, three-wheelers are the main means of transport in many regions in Tanzania. Tanzania happened to be a wide country. So in many areas, public transport as of buses and minibuses are not there, but we have three-wheelers. So with electric three-wheelers, it becomes better for the drivers, and they gain 90% more income in their day-to-day work. Therefore, how the business model works there, you either find the driver owns the vehicle or it's owned by somebody else, and he has to give payment daily. And the daily payment is of maybe, for the sake of understanding, around $10 in Kiswahili, elfu ishirini. For that purpose, now the person gains another $10 in the daily income, and that changes a lot of how they do business, and it allows them to go longer, but also it reduces the hours of working. Instead of working, you find them, they start working from 4 a.m. until 11 p.m. at night. So that can be reduced and they can spend more time with families. With that style of working, just going straight to the question in terms of how the business affects how a woman will see entering even into that business, is that the long working hours it's making is creating a threat to them. But maybe with an electric motor vehicle, they can work less hours and still take care of their families and stuff like that. However, when it comes to policy-wise, my beautiful country, we go pole pole, and it's our style. But in some instance, it's efficient. What we do right now, I am part of the policy working group in Tanzania for the electric vehicle whole process. We're part of the discussion with the Ministry of Work, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Environment. We are working on the policy in general. I'm part of the Tanzania Renewable Energy Association. I'm a board member. So what we are doing now currently, we are learning from all of you, all of other countries, what they're doing. And I'm very impressed. Last week we were in Rwanda. We were learning. We did a study tour as a country to see what they're doing in Rwanda and see how we can bring together the policy. So hopefully by next year, as per parliament sitting, we will have a formal policy towards e-mobility. So having said that, our countries, we need to talk to each other. Somehow as one country is ahead in another, maybe the other one to participate as well than waiting while they're going ahead and then other ones are coming slowly behind. But it is what it is. However, part of the tariffs and awareness of tariffs, the East Africa tariff itself of trading, when you say we send our vehicles also, we have business in Mombasa. We trying to establish business in Ethiopia, where they're the biggest adapters of electric mobility right now. And we're trying to do that. So we struggle in tariffs in general, not limiting whether you're a youth, woman or what, but we still have the tariff situation. And then there's the update of tariffs. Every year, East Africa has a process of updating tariffs. And in each year, it changes. So before a youth person can see an opportunity and decide, okay, I will try to go maybe do business in another country, the tariff has changed. Because it starts changing in January, and then by the next January it has changed. So we probably need, unfortunately, Honorable Rebecca has left, but that should be an update, that some things to hold off until the process takes off, and have like an harmonized process of, especially when introducing a new industry like electric mobility. At the moment, Tanzania has, for instance, just a general exemption in importing lithium battery ions, lithium batteries. So that, if that was adapted across East Africa, that would be very helpful in terms of adapting to the two-wheelers, because I've noticed in other East African countries, the two-wheelers are the more picking up, while in Tanzania, not yet. We don't have as much two-wheelers for transport, electric two-wheelers for means of transport, like I've seen in Rwanda and also I've seen here. So if that was across, it will be easy for a business from Uganda to come do business in Tanzania in just through a simple process of just adhering to the East Africa policies in general. When it comes to the women in this area, how I see it, this is my opinion, that we do not necessarily have to take the woman out to be a driver, but we can create agent women. How I see it, because a woman is many things, but also during the day they have to take care of the kids at school and lunches and all that. How I see a great opportunity of making many women agents who can supply clean cooking, as clean cooking tanks or majiko, and then you can have women agents who are also doing mobile money agents, and then also they can be clean agents for e-mobility in terms of swapping and charging stations. So in that way, you have a woman who goes to work in the morning, open their duka, do this business, and have all other small businesses, and then in the evening they close the business in terms of spending time with the family and stuff like that. But just how given the opportunity of being here, I had to think, okay, I need to think of a practical solution to share. Maybe someone will see that opportunity and say, oh, you know what? I'm going to take all the stoves out there. By the way, I'm a business person. I've been an entrepreneur in Tanzania for over 10 years. So I saw all the stoves out there, the clean cooking stoves, and all that I could think is like, how do you become an agent to this? And then you add mobile money so that someone can come and pay. And if you add the charging station and swapping station, like I've seen the bikes outside, Spyro, Go-Go bikes. So you can have a place where, someone comes, and then including that, they can have cooking, they can have food there and everything. That's just my business mind thinking, but I see an opportunity there.
Perhaps I'll go to Engineer Betty, who I see is very ready. I'd want you to give us, I'm curious to understand what considering that we have a very young audience, NRC, or the Norwegian Refugee Council, is working within the region, particularly in displacement settings, and is very keen on something called localization. Tell us, what are some of the advantages, what are some of the benefits that localization will bring to women and the youth for East Africa? And in that benefit that's coming to the local level, how does that sit with the regional? We talk regional. How does it sit with the regional concept? I mean, because we're promoting things to be regional, cross-border, and what have you. How does it sit to that? Thank you. Over to you.
I might not repeat my name. So as I have been introduced, I'm with NRC, Norwegian Refugee Council, covering East and South Africa region. There are countries that are not in EAC, but I think when we discuss transboundary opportunities, we do not limit ourselves. We can go to the world. NRC is a humanitarian organization, international NGO, providing aid in humanitarian settings to displaced people, and this is both refugees and internally displaced people. And Africa hosts millions of internally displaced people, but Uganda hosts the most at around 1.7 thereabouts million people who are displaced in the country. And NRC is very keen to continuously incorporate energy access into the programs that we implement and try to see all the different ways that we can accelerate energy access in displacement settings. And this is both in urban settings as well as in rural settings. And we do this through access to energy in household levels, institutional levels, education centers, health centers, market centers. And then also we start to look at ways in which we can continue promoting productive use of energy and creating businesses and opportunities for displaced people to be part of the solution in their community. And to get to the question that Colin has asked about localization, basically what localization means is using local actors, local products, local markets to enhance access to aid. And what this means is that you ensure that the operations that you're having, by using localization, you ensure that you're having effectiveness, efficiency, and relevance in the humanitarian aid. And to bring this to the context of energy access, working with locally led organizations means that the solutions you have are culturally acceptable. People are able to relate to the solutions that you want to implement. And we all know the way our culture is in Africa, the duty of cooking lies with the women. I'm not saying men don't cook, But it's mostly the women that are involved in cooking. And in the cases where men are involved in the cooking, it's the youth. That, right? Yeah. So then when we say what opportunities are there, it means that nearly all opportunities in localization for energy access are going to be to the women and to the youth. And that means that then everything that we want to do, we have to consider the youth and the women to be able to implement these solutions. And how can we do that? We do that by creating a linkage between local organizations and international organizations, by creating equitable partnerships in fundraising in such a way that if I'm reaching out to a donor and say, I want to implement these energy lighting solutions or cooking solutions in, let's say, Nakivale camp, I want to work with a local organization that is in that camp, that understands the energy needs in that camp, understands the technologies that are viable, and the culture that is there, that the solutions are going to be more acceptable to the community, but more to solutions that are more sustainable. And that linkage means that the next time that this organization is scaling up the program, they might not need me to be an intermediary to link them. And that creates more sustainability and even technical capacity for local organizations to be able to get directly to the donors and access funding to be able to implement these projects at the community level. Again, I would also like to mention that by using local actors and local markets and local products to implement energy solutions, it means that these solutions are more sustainable. It means that so the solutions that you implement are going to be a lot more acceptable, and that you continuously empower the community, not just the displaced people, but even the community hosting them. And that means that in the end, we are able to accelerate energy access by involving the right people, involving women-led organizations, youth-led organizations, promoting capacity building and technical capacity of the youth and women, promoting even their capacity in terms of entrepreneurship and business development, but then also trying to see how can we promote innovative financing and innovative funding of energy projects within community-led organizations, local organizations, women-led organizations, to ensure sustainability in implementation of programs.
Thanks for your answers. I think the term localization has sunk in. So allow me to go to our not the final panelist, because there's still another round of questions. Let me go to Mr. Arou Kuol. So I'd want to understand from your perspective, the solar electric cooking, particularly the definition of this particular technology, something that's new. I want to think it's innovative. As it diffuses, or rather, as people adopt it within the refugee context, I mean, what are some of the opportunities that exist, particularly for women and youth, in promotion of this particular technology, particularly for cooking? Thank you, Abatir.
Thank you very much for the question, moderator. I will start by reintroducing myself, because I know when we get out of here, the only person who will gossip about the name will be me, because my name is quite difficult. You'll be like, what was the name of the other Sudanese or South Sudanese? Yeah, so Kuol, Arou Kuol is my name. You can call me Kuol, I'm okay with that. But I hope we will interact more so that you get to know my name. Kuol, Arou Kuol is my name. I work with Last Mile Climate. Last Mile Climate is a climate-focused organization that is based in Denmark. But we have our interventions in Rwanda, Kenya, and Uganda currently. And also Nigeria. We find requests from governments to make intervention. That's very interesting about Last Mile Climate. So we have intervention also in Nigeria that is just igniting. But in Uganda, we have been very progressive in terms of promotion of solar electric cooking. And that's what you had called Solco. So besides being a refugee, I work with this organization as a policy and advocacy officer in the promotion of solar electric cooking. Solar electric cooking is being headed by Masikov in Uganda. So it's a platform. It's not a sole project. It is a platform for partnership that brings together government entities, private sector players, humanitarian actors that are doing something to promote solar electric cooking. Now you will ask yourself, why are we focusing on solar electric cooking? First of all, to me, I believe that it's very unfair that there is a community at the last mile. There is a global south community that is still relying on 800,000 years old cooking method, right? It's 800,000 years since the cooking with firewood was discovered. And so the other first world has moved, but we are still here struggling to get out of that. It's very unfortunate. Our own country, South Sudan, there's a lot of sun. So why can't we utilize solar? For that, it's very important that we utilize solar, because we have already seen also through our partners, there is Fesito that has made what we call e-cooker, that is a solar electric cooker, and it is working so well. But I think the gap has been the coordination and partnership. There are so many actors doing so many things, but then there is no partnership, there is no coordination. The other reason why we are using solar is because of the health benefits that it has got. I am a refugee. My family currently is in Germany, ILO 1 refugee settlement. And the forest lines have really disappeared from where we found them since 2014. Some of the conflicts that we have experienced were from sharing of the tree resources. Those are firewoods. So a conflict erupted in 2018. 3 young refugees and 2 from the host community were killed. And it was because of this. So if we have solar power being used for cooking, then we could have not had such an unfortunate incidents. The other reason, besides the prevention of conflicts, is that it is estimated actually, and I would ask you to Google it, that 30,000 people in Uganda die every year. Estimated 30,000 people die every year from pollution-related diseases. And most of these pollutions are from the household cooking and clean cooking. And so we save a lot when we utilize solar in terms of health. To go again to the question of what are the opportunities for the youth. I think majority, it was earlier mentioned, and our Honorable Kadaga also hinted on it, that majority in this region are youth and women. And in the refugee context, 90% of the households are led by women and youth. And so when we bring this solution, we are directly, as my colleague here said, we are directly addressing the challenge of the women and youth. So it is women who are doing double work, going to fetch firewoods, coming to do family meals, and the youth, as I earlier said, are also involved in the conflict, and these are deadly conflicts. So if we diffuse these technologies across the region, I know the region is vast and it has different policies and different practices, but it is for the benefit of the youth and the women in the region, in terms of health, in terms of prevention of conflicts, in terms of, also there is a new trend about carbon credit, carbon financing. Africa has not stepped in there because we do not think we have anything to contribute, but yet we are the ones who are saving much. So in the refugee context, and in our partnership as Solco and as Last Mile Climate, we are having partners who are now trying to find ways of buying carbon credit from refugees in the displacement settings. And that will mean that the solar power will be a lot cheaper, because they can save up to $300 a year. So you can, if you buy a solar panel for $300, That's quite a lot of money, right? In the refugee context, where a refugee, for your information, a refugee is getting about $5 every month in food. $5, so, or even less. So what can you buy with $5? So in that case, they can tap into this asset, the carbon saving, and I think we can be able to really benefit a lot from that. So those are some of the few reasons. Yeah, also the other opportunity, not to forget, is employment, because this solar power is maintained, and then we are struggling with unemployment. So if you train these refugees to do maintenance, to do installations, then you are providing jobs for them. And also, if there is a increased supply, it means that there will be more revenue coming to the government. And so what we are doing is this partnership that provides quality supply, increased supply. So we are working on both demand side and the supply side. And the demand side, as Betty touched on it, is being done by refugee-led organizations or local actors at the grassroots, because they understand the context, they understand the needs of their people, they understand who is able to afford. The question of affordability has been one of the issues that we have faced. But then we are saying, who is to define what is affordable for us? We have to define it by ourselves. Just make the products available, and then we will be able to see if we can manage to get them. Yeah, so basically that from my side. Looking forward to reacting on some of the other questions that will come. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot for the incisive answer. Yes, so I'll come back to you, Engineer Mugisho. Yeah, I know you talked about skill gaps. In our context, we understand that most schools, people go to study, but most of the training is partly theoretical to a larger extent. So would you tell us some of the trainings that perhaps you give this particular set of youths or women that you would like to bring bring on board to help you implement certain projects?
Early when we say like limits for youth and women to access in energy, journey, energy transit journey. And I mentioned about the skill gap, which is between women and youth in general. And imagine for employment, you are going to a certain company, and each and every time they will ask you like 10 years experience, and that doesn't really make sense for someone who still young, and probably just graduated. And that is one of the key challenge, for employment. And what we do now at Aptech Africa, as I said, we have those positions where you can enter, as a trainer. And after the training session, even you can scale up to probably to have a contract. And we have examples of people who came as interns and now they are senior engineer and implementing projects. And something that Aptech is really paying key on that. And for right now, as I'm speaking, 55% of the employees in Aptech, they are women. And talking about youth now, from the chief technical officer, the chief financial officer as well, especially the engineering and the financial side, all of them, they are between 25, 23 to 36, Yeah, this shows how Aptech is growing really important in employing men and women and youth. So what type of trainings now we do at Aptech Africa? So on the project development, and I will talk about probably after commissioning, after implementation project. So here on the office, as I say, we give opportunity for people to come, to join us. And later on, when you get to Aptech, if you are still like a new employee or probably you are an intern, they will assign you a senior engineer. And each and every project you have to be there to assist, and he will take you to all the feasibility study, the designing stage, and you have to see from the procurement to the installation. And people now on the field, what we do, because working with the local partner or local community is very important for us. So instead of probably sending a huge team of engineers from our headquarters, so we try to partner with people locally there. And those are the people after training, most of the time they will take care of the project, especially on the maintenance and the operation. We still have somebody to be there to guide them. And here I'm taking an example of Burundi. We had a project with the UNDP. The project was really, really far and remote, and we couldn't send a lot of people there. So the only option we had is to look for local people who are there, train them for a certain time, and we're able to install 11 mini-grids by working only with the local community. So the good part of it, also we did what we call knowledge transfer to them. And for now, the mini-grids have been running for 6 months, and they are the one entering into the operation of it. So those are the things we are doing at Aptech Africa, and we are really committed to keep empowering youth and women, and also for people looking for joining us, you know, we give you a warm welcome. Thanks.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. I think the youth, you are taking cue of Aptech, what Aptech Africa is offering. They are willing to hold your hand, train you, so that you become competent to be able to work not only within Aptech, but also within other organizations. You've seen the transformation of somebody going into Aptech as an intern, and later on becoming a senior engineer. So allow me to go next to Ms. Mercy Kitomari. Mercy, I know you already alluded to some of the opportunities that exist for women and youth, particularly in the electric mobility sector. I know you talked about Tanzania being relatively more so aligned towards the three-wheelers. For three-wheelers, we talk about the tukutuku. It's locally called tukutuku. In Kenya, and Tanzania, we call it tuk-tuk. And the two-wheelers are the boda-bodas. I know there's an emergence of electric boda-bodas around, particularly within Kampala. We see them more often, and you've already said that those are some of the opportunities that perhaps a Ugandan or somebody from Rwanda or Kenya can be able to go and venture in within the Tanzania space. And also, you've talked about women being agents of centers where we swap the batteries. Are there other opportunities that perhaps you see, apart from those that you already alluded to? Are there other opportunities that you see can exist for women and youth to be able to tap into the electric mobility value chain?
At the moment, the opportunities that I know that are still a challenge, in general, I'll say in East Africa, even in general, we're having a challenge of mechanics when it comes to the e-mobility space in general. Even I see programs where they try to encourage women to join degree programs, master's program, and diploma programs in the space of e-mobility. So that right now, as an industry, is evolving. For the young people, I will encourage them to jump into those opportunities and being a solution for the industry at the moment. As ourselves as TRI, in general, that we are based in Dar es Salaam, as much as we are working with the Dar es Salaam Institute of Technology at DIT, we still have a shortage of mechanics, electrical engineers, and the youth there. The market is vast, and the youth there, we can get as much as we can, but still there's a big gap, because the users of the means of transport, and say people who are doing the big job of transporting people from point A to point B, are the youth, the young men who are the drivers of boda boda, and also the drivers of the tuk-tuk, bajaji. We just generally call it bajaji. So that also, there is a huge gap in mechanics, both female and male. Just right now, the need is mechanics. So if you can jump into that opportunity and be a solution right now as the market is emerging, you're welcome. But also, there's a major gap for female in the space, because when we lead by examples, And I know our community in general, we move forward by seeing if someone is doing it, then I want to do it. So we need more women in the space who can jump into these opportunities. And because you're youth, then please do. Many opportunities I see for educational purposes like degree programs and all this other, they have an age limit. And I have way past that limit. So for you young people, I challenge you, please join those opportunities. And, we'll be happy to show you where to go and where there's that. But because at the Dar es Salaam Institute of Technology, there is a specific program for women to join, young women to join to be electrical engineers in the electric mobility space. So if at all you are interested in that, I'm happy to share more information with you because we work with the Dar es Salaam Institute of Technology. Karibu, I'm happy to help in that space.
Thank you, Ms. Mercy. Over to you again, Engineer Betty. We are talking about electrifying displacement settings, particularly within your work within the region. We do anticipate that at some point we'll have electric and electronic wastes. It's something that we foresee. Maybe it started because most of the solar panels, they always have a lifespan of around 25 years. So we do anticipate that there's likelihood to grow. What are some of the opportunities that you see are available for the youth and women in that particular space, particularly in management of electric and electronic waste? And maybe you tell us what NRC is doing within that particular space.
Thank you, Collins. That is a very tough question. E-waste. It's true, we are, as much as we keep accelerating energy access and renewable energy access, in particular, most of the times you're talking about solar. And it's because if we do big hydro plants, big geothermal plants, big wind plants, the waste will not be as much as what we do with solar. And it's because solar is, small solar home systems, small solar installations, small solar plants. And that means that by the time we are getting to everybody has energy access, then that means that in 10 years, 15 years, you're going to have lots and lots of accumulated e-waste that we will need to start discussing on ways to ethically dispose that waste. And so then, now that we anticipate this waste, then what opportunities can we create for women and youth so that when the time comes, the women and youth are at the forefront of sorting out this waste. And I do know that already there are organizations already dealing with this and some of the issues some of the ways that I'm going to mention, and I will also share what NRC is doing. There will be opportunities in e-waste collection by the time the waste is too much, and this we can share. We all know the example of metals, the way there was so much metal like 10 years ago everywhere, and now you cannot see a metal lying on the ground. Actually, people will even steal good metals to take them to recycling plants, yeah? And I'm foreseeing a situation where it's going to be the same thing, and there will be so many business opportunities for collection of e-waste to be able to take them to areas where they can be recycled, and positioning yourself correctly and preparing yourself to say it's a business opportunity that I will want to venture in means that you take your research early in advance, find ways to reach out to these companies that are doing recycling, companies that are doing repurposing of this equipment, and then try to create the linkage for anticipated business opportunities. What NRC is doing now is providing training. We have 7 vocational training centers across Uganda, and one of the main courses we offer is solar installation, repair, and maintenance in those institutions. And we do this so that we ensure that energy solutions we are deploying in the community are sustainable, because there is enough capacity in the community to repair the equipment. And before implementing an energy solution, we will look at what is the willingness of the people to pay, what is their ability to pay for these energy solutions. And in most researches and in most case studies, nobody wants to buy something twice. If I want to buy a solar home system, I don't want to buy that thing next year. I want it to serve me for like 5 years. So then if it's not working, is there someone who can repair it so that I don't have to buy it? And if someone can repair it, that's a business opportunity. We try to ensure that the community has people trained on solar systems. They can come install them, they can come repair them, and maintenance and repair of solar technologies, however big or however small the system is, repair is always less costly. It will cost you less than $5 to repair a solar system that is malfunctioning. And even for big solar systems, nearly always the cost of maintenance and repair is always minimal. And that means that to ensure sustainability, if there are people who are able to repair and maintain these systems, then you are able to reuse them. And that reduces the amount of e-waste because nobody has to buy twice. The other opportunity that I see would be for the batteries. Providing opportunities for collection of batteries. I have learned today that there is a big recycling plant for batteries, solar batteries in Uganda. I learned today. Does anybody know about that? Yeah. She was in the session. Yeah. So there is a recycling plant for batteries in Uganda, and if I don't know that and you don't know that, means that it's a big business opportunity that we don't know. And the plant is currently not operating because they say they don't have feedstock. They do not have batteries to recycle. They do not have batteries to repurpose. Yeah, they do. Lead acid batteries, gel batteries, lithium-ion batteries. So that's a business opportunity that the youth should be venturing in collection, and they pay you to collect. So why is no one doing it? Yeah, I end with that question.
Okay, thanks a lot, Engineer Betty. I think a question has been posed to us, and in the question lies an opportunity. So they always say we need to grab it by our lapels as fast as we can. Don't wait to finish school to grab that opportunity.
I just want to add how big that opportunity is in Tanzania. It depends, because right now our tax authority, they have put high taxes on lead acid batteries until there is a solution. So that company, if they come and say they have a solution for recycling batteries, then the solar business will be allowed to use the lead acid batteries as much as, because the TRA have insisted if there is no solution for recycling those batteries, then we're going to ban importation of lead acid batteries. So that's a major, major opportunity. Yeah.
I think the lab is Total Energies, and they're working with Mercy Corps. So if you know anybody, you can reach out from Mercy Corps or someone from GIZ. They'll be able to guide you on how you can tap into that opportunity.
Okay, thanks a lot. Maybe a last question to Arou, Kuol. Are there some of the challenges working with women and youth, particularly in promotion of solar electric cooking kits? Are there certain challenges that perhaps you've seen, that you've encountered, and what are some of the solutions that you are professing so that you engage more youth and women in promotion of solar electric cooking solutions?
For that question, I think, first of all, I think Betty is a good partner to be sitting where she's sitting, because most of my inputs are answered by her. I think you've done a presentation on my behalf. The challenges, especially in the displacement settings, include accessibility. There is a low investment in solar energy access in displaced settings. People usually believe that refugees do not have money, or refugees are mobile people, so they don't think there is a business opportunity in the refugee context, because they think perhaps they are going the next day, which is not the case, because there are refugees who have been here for the last 40 years, and they are still refugees in Uganda. Actually, the financial institutions are now confessing that the refugees are repaying their loans more than the nationals. And so that perception has cost us in terms of supply side, because it's supply side that actually should drive the demands and quality. Because if you have a few suppliers, they won't be bothered about the quality of supplies they are making, because they don't have competitors. So one of the challenges accessing these quality products in the refugee context. I will not specify this challenge by gender or age, but it cuts across. The other challenge that we've been facing is cultural barriers. Men from my culture, especially the pastoralist communities like myself, still want to process, they want to figure out what it means to have, to eat food that is cooked with solar. They feel so good eating food that is cooked with charcoal. And so they find it very, very difficult to accept that this is a transition that needs to be done. The other challenge is a limited distribution network. I think I have talked about that. But the other very important challenge is exclusion of youth and women in discussions concerning these technologies. Somehow, these technologies, the intervention or the solutions are being discussed from this prototype stage. These people are not involved, and at the end of the day, when you get to the settlement, they will be confused. So it's important that they are involved in these discussions. Also, in affordability as well, because there is always a conclusion about how affordable they would be to refugees, not looking at the other benefits that make cooking with biomass very expensive. They don't look at that. So if you call a refugee and tell them that, do you think it is very expensive to buy a solar that costs, for example, $100? To you, you may think that it is very expensive because a refugee is getting $5. But looking at the other long-term consequences, it is actually cheaper to cook with solar. And these are discussions that the consultations are not made, unfortunately. That's one of the challenges. The other challenge is lack of supportive policies. It has been very difficult for us to advocate and ensure that there is a reduction in taxes on solar electric equipment. There is still that struggle, and that makes them expensive at the end of the day. So one of the solutions that we have utilized as Solco is use of refugee youth-led organizations in the displacement settings, and the CBOs in the host communities, the community-based organizations. They know the culture, as Betty said. They know the culture, they understand the context, they live it. There is no way someone who is sitting somewhere in Kampala will say they are experts in the context of a refugee in West Nile. That is impossible. And so they also have strategies, local strategies on how to change mindsets of the people like myself, the pastoralist communities. So we use these windows working with the refugee-led organizations. And right now we work with 2 refugee-led organizations in BDBD refugee settlements to do demand activation. So that's one of the solutions. The other solution is supply-side investment. How do we make solar energy attractive to investors? How do we make, because we have 2 solutions here. We have the solar energy, but we also have the on-grid. But then how many communities are accessing the grid in West Nile, in these remote areas of the countries, of the country? And so what we do here is to make sure that we make solar energy investment attractive to investors, and to also we are also creating a solution in terms of helping the displaced setting inhabitants to access carbon credits. And this is a huge achievement for us. We are having a conversation with Standard Chartered Bank. Our team leader had a conversation with them yesterday. They are very positive to do the investment side, and also other actors that are, we still don't understand the carbon credit and how it sells and all that. And so it's important for this opportunity to be utilized, and we are looking at that. The last one is policy advocacy that I'm doing, and other colleagues of mine. engaging the government, engaging the institutions to make sure that solar electric solution is institutionalized, and there is a policy, because it's very difficult to work without policy. Yeah, so thank you.
I think the panelists want to thank you for your submissions. Straight away, I'd like to go to the audience.
Thank you so much. My name is Nema Dumo. I am a researcher with Love Bint International. I am particularly intrigued by all the possibilities and opportunities for the youth that have been stated here today. But I am most interested in the solar electric cooking. I interface a lot with communities, and women in those communities, you know that they're the ones who do the cooking and fetching the water and everything. Are there any success stories or headway made in that endeavor, or is it something that is still being thought of? Thank you.
And I had a question to any other panelists. I'm always hearing about the cost-friendly, cost-effective, and all that. And they're giving the the solar panel cooking equipment, which I believe can be like kind of expensive. But if you're reducing them, how is the government going to get something from this? And is it a long time? Are we saving for the future as we reduce the prices, or are we also trying to, Uganda is still not yet there, but I believe that even when you are using renewable energy, we can still make it to the place we want to be. So how is this going to actually help us embark on climate change and also as the country's revenue issue?
My question actually is on women. I know when we start talking about women involvement, it's good that most of you actually, or all of you, talked about the different entry points of women, right from the user, right from the mother who is cooking for the children, for the food for the children, up to the entrepreneur. But it didn't come very strongly out. How is it possible through the different projects that you are doing to have women entrepreneurs do cross-border trade or partnership with other women or even non-women companies in your countries or in your projects that you are running? Why I'm asking that is that recently I took a step and I said I needed to scale out of Uganda, and I'm doing partnerships in areas where I'm not actually in. For me, I'm in biogas and waste management and recycling, but I'm looking for other partners who are in the solar sector, who are in water recycling, and who are in other areas like e-cooking, but maybe e-cooking not so much because the urban population is not my target. The population is more in the rural. I've just opened up a company in Kenya. We've just finished the paperwork, but I'm partnering with a man. But I'm also riding on the opportunity that today calls for proposals, calls for funding are actually saying youth-led or women-led. So this is our opportunity, women here. I know the young girls here are going to turn to women very soon. You need to grow through that path. So I'm looking for those opportunities in Tanzania. I'm looking for those opportunities, more opportunities, of course, in Kenya. I tried going through to Juba through another friend who is working there. But I think the conditions are so hard for women to do business there. And I don't know, now that we know each other, are there those kinds of opportunities? Because for me, I want to scale up. I'm looking for other partners. I'm looking for things that are not done in Sudan, but done here. Why can't I work through you and we bring businesses there and have more women there? Then the other one was for the engineer trainer. part of what we are doing, we're trying to get more girls and more women into the science field of doing business, not just science, but science and technology of doing business. I don't know, I'm just also thinking aloud, maybe I'll follow you up later. How can we partner as two companies that these young girls and women we are meeting in different places, we actually work with you to skill them up. Now, skilling is one thing, but getting the equipment and the machinery to do further production is another. I don't know whether you're playing any role that after training, you can help these young people trained or the young women actually access the kind of equipment that they need. Thank you very much.
So my question is, how can solar energy sources, or how can solar energy be integrated with, like the way we see electricity start, that it is affordable and be used by the public? Thank you.
My question is directed to Mr. Goshu. I hope I've gotten his name right. Mugisho. Yes, I remember you greeted us in French. Bonjour, bonjour. So it's just a slight question about the regional. Most of you guys have talked about the regional policies and the renewable energy policies. I just want some small insights or like a few examples of those policies and how the East African community has benefited from those policies. Thank you.
The first question on whether there are success stories, yes. We have a partner that is supplying e-cooker, and if any of you can access internet, you can search for e-cooker, ECOCA. The company is called Pesito. We have supplied this in the refugee settlement in Bidi, and there is a very good feedback. So you can also listen to the feedback from the community representatives themselves. And that's why we said we may not be seeing, as partners, we may not be seeing the long-term benefits, but the communities themselves are seeing them. So e-cooker is already working. We are looking at how to scale it up now, so that our target, by the way, as Solco, is to supply 150,000 households with solar electric cookers by 2027 in Uganda alone. It's 250,000 globally, but Uganda, we are looking at 150,000. And so you will listen to some of the success stories and feedbacks that you will hear from there. And then a question of cost friendliness and what benefit does the government get, and what are the long-term or future savings that we make out of that, and what benefits does it have for climate change. As I earlier mentioned, I'm a refugee, and when we arrived, the places where we arrived in 2014, you cannot see a single tree right now. And so it is because we do not have alternative way of cooking. That's why people are destroying the forest. And this is where the conflicts are coming in. And so on climate benefits, it is self-explanatory that if you have people cooking with solar, the climate is saved. But also if you have the solar items or supplies coming in, government is also getting revenue. As community is also getting the quality. If you have more and more being supplied, government is getting revenue from that. And so we believe it's an opportunity for the government to save, but also for individuals also to save, because it's expensive. I think buying a sack of charcoal in Uganda, for example, is expensive now. It's around 100,000 Uganda shillings. So and that's, I think, about $30, and you could use maybe 2 in a month. And so it's itself, apart from these other benefits, it's very expensive to cook with charcoal, apart from climate benefits. And so if you can use a solar panel or solar cooker for like 2 years or 1.5 years, then you do service. And if you calculate that, you will realize that it is cheaper. To move fast, my friend from Ndundu. How is it possible to have women entrepreneurs to do cross-border trade? For me, who comes from displacement setting, it is quite tricky because of the protection concerns. Refugees are not allowed to do like cross-border sort of trading because there are risks. In most cases, they settle in areas that are very close to their country. And crossing back and forth, someone might be ambushed and something like that. But this is also food for thought because there are areas that might be safe. There are suppliers who may be coming from the other country and they exchange information. But what I wanted to say, since you said you focus on waste management, we have a pillar of partnership which is on waste management as last mile climate. So our intervention in Kenya is on waste management, and it is led by DRC, Danish Refugee Council, and West Netherlands. Those are our focal points in Kenya. Maybe we can exchange contacts, and then I introduce you, and then you apply to be a member of the SWIP partnership, Solid Waste Management Partnership. I think we can do that. And I think that answers your question of whether there are opportunities to partner. We can surely partner on that. The last one from me, how can solar energy be integrated and be made cheaper? I think integration of it will first of all, we will first look at the policy. Is the policy enabling us to be able to adapt to solar electric cooking? There is a bit of a gap in buy-in, like from the community side, but also the government, and we are grateful to the government of Uganda. This morning we had a Solco side event, and the representative was from Office of the Prime Minister. This is a very strong advocate for solar electric cooking because he has seen firsthand, the Office of the Prime Minister has seen what we can be able to achieve with this. So it needs a policy to integrate this. It needs community awareness to be able to adapt it and to demand it. And that's when we can have effective implementation of that. I hope that answers the questions that were directed to me. Thank you.
And I think I can start with the question on making solar energy more affordable. I think for me, it would be exploring more innovative and blended finance, and it could be solutions like resort-based financing. It could be pay as you go. It does not make it cheaper, but it makes it more affordable if you're paying over time. But then also we can also continue doing policy advocacy to ensure that, and I know it's happening in Kenya, even here in Uganda and in Tanzania, where governments are now creating incentives and tax exemptions for some of the renewable energy products. Also, as with time, as technology advances, the cost goes down. So we also anticipate that the cost of energy will go down. The question on opportunities, trans-border opportunities for women and youth. I would say the first one is what we are doing here right now. Attending conferences and expos and webinars and opportunities and workshops where you get to interact with other people in your field, get to learn what people are doing and create networks to be able to create opportunities for yourself. I can share several organizations that maybe you can go look at. You can look at student energy. This is for the youth. Look at student energy and join. Look at SDG 7 youth constituency, and these are open. You are free to join, and they share so many opportunities that you can look at. We also have Women in Energy, an organization you can also look at. There are some programs like Open Africa Power. I hope someone has done that program here. But they provide capacity building and so many opportunities for youth and women to venture into energy sector and energy access. The last one would be, there are so many organizations supporting women, and like for instance, the project, the NDEV, Energizing Development, with GIZ, SNV, Mercy Corps, and many organizations that are promoting women and youth-led organizations to be able to be at the forefront of energy access. I'm happy to share these contacts with you. I'm happy to share these contacts with anybody here who wants to participate or join hands in spreading your wings cross-boundary?
I will go straight to the entrepreneur opportunities when it comes to women. When it comes to cross-border trading, number one thing is sharing information, as we are here doing that as an individual. This is how I take it. If you have met me and you come to Tanzania and you face a challenge and you get in trouble, I will laugh at you because you have met me. I've said I'm open to communication. If you have a question, reach out. And then you go there, something happens. Please don't blame Tanzanians. It's just you didn't meet the right people, because people will always be people. But if there's someone who has information, that's my personal thing. You show up to Tanzania, I'll send you the right direction, because information is what makes things flow, and communication. If you're a good communicator, I believe things will flow easily. Number two, I am part of the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs Tanzania, AWE. Yes, I'm a coordinator and a facilitator in Tanzania. That platform, we have already trained 400 women so far. We are on our 4th year right now. And in that group of category of women, we have strong women in different industries. We have energy, we have mining, we have tailoring, all sorts. So when you say you're in energy and you connect with me, then I connect you with the women that in that category. And it's easier to flow with that in that process. If that doesn't work for you, then I put you straight to the Tanzania Renewable Energy Association, and etc., etc. Information is what makes things work. So always, we should always look for information and what works for us. So there's many opportunities out there. So karibu, and I'm happy to share that information. The program for AWE is under Dream Builder. It's something you can just check it out and do it on your own. Even I encourage men, young men to do the program with an entrepreneur mindset. It helps you structure your thought and move towards that direction of that business, because it triggers questions that only you as an individual can answer and decide on your own what you want to do. And then align that with either renewable energy in solar, e-mobility, cooking, anything. Then you know, the world is your oyster right now. The world right now is open to information. And I think your limitation to succeed, it shouldn't be limited because you don't have information.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. I will pick from the sharing information just she mentioned, and it's very crucial. And Madam who say like probably she want to partner with us and you are in waste management. I don't know how you use your waste for probably energy production wise, but you can even scaling up for producing like biogas, you know, with digesters and other thing, and then you can fit in our domain of energy. And talking about probably scaling up and looking for opportunities, you know, there are some grants, you know. I don't know if you heard about the D prize. We have our friend here who won it, and they have a lot of challenges. They ask you to write a concept note, like 1 to 2 pages, and they have a lot of challenges. They are in waste management, they have one in an energy, you know, they have a lot of topics, and they give up to $20,000, I think, and it can really help us to scale. And also there is the USDF, you know, project, which is going on, and they give like up to $250,000. So those are the things that people, they can go there and try to look at opportunities. And you asked about the training, what we do on our side. I remember one of the projects in Burundi, we installed solar system, and also we offers multifunction machine for food process and agriculture. And it was up to us now to teach those women who gonna start business using those machines, how to operate them, and considering also the advantages and the limit for solar. And we always follow up with them to be sure that the energy we provided to them help them to work with the machine and do the work they are going to. So that's what probably I have to add on it.
A round of applause for our panelists, please. I just want to consider those as the closing statements from our panelists. For the interest of time, talk to one another. Let's not be inward-facing, but rather inward-facing and also outward-facing. That's an opportunity, and also an opportunity to also play local. refugee-led organization, youth-led organization, women-led organization. Those are the things that I want us to stress on, and we can be able to build ourselves locally and also build our nations and also our region, the East African community region, to prosperity. Okay, thanks a lot for taking time, and I hope that I'm going to see you here in the afternoon.